A young genius at making robots has his project stolen, so he uses a robot nurse to get his project back. Today, we'll go over the plot of the 2014 movie Big Hero 6. In an underground arena in the city of San Fransokyo, robots fight each other. During the competition, the robot controlled by the pink-haired girl seems to beat its opponent. However, suddenly Yama's robot gets up and uses a chain attached to his arm to rip the opponent's head off. When the winner asks who will challenge him next, Hiro Hamada steps up. A 14-year-old boy accepts the challenge to battle that guy. His robot is much smaller than all the others in the contest and was built by him. The fight starts, and Hiro's robot is completely destroyed within seconds. The boy asks for a second chance, saying that this is his first fight. Yama doesn't want to fight him again, but when Hiro pulls a lot of money out of his pocket, he decides to do it. At the start of the second round, all of the Megabot's parts come back together through magnetism, and its face changes. During the fight, the robot breaks into several pieces to attack the enemy after ripping off his opponent's arms. Megabot rips off his head, ending the fight. Hiro takes the money, but Yama feels cheated and steals his robot. He then tells his men to teach the boy a lesson. However, before Hiro gets hurt, his older brother shows up on a motorcycle and takes him away. At that moment, Hiro activates the Megabot, and the robot manages to get away from Yama as they flee. Tadashi complains about his brother getting into underground fights again. Hiro finished school at age 13, but he has no plans to go to college. She doesn't think he'll learn anything he doesn't already know. As Tadashi tries to find a way out, the police show up and arrest them both because Hiro's parents died when he was 3. His aunt goes to the police station to pick them up. When they get home, they go straight to their room, where Hiro learns that a new robot fight is about to start. The boy wants to take part in the fight, but his brother tries to stop him. When he realizes that he can't stop the boy, Tadashi offers to take him, but the boy takes his brother to the university where he studies instead. Hiro meets his brother's classmates and is excited to see that he's not the only genius there. Each of them is working on an invention, and they show the boy their work. Now it's Tadashi's turn to show off his new project. When the boy screams in pain, Tadashi's robot is turned on. The young man takes a piece of tape, sticks it to Hiro's arm, and pulls it. Baymax walks up to Hiro and introduces himself as a personal health agent who has been programmed to respond when someone makes a pain sound. After scanning the boy, Baymax finds the lesion and uses an antibacterial spray to prevent infection. Hiro is impressed, and Tadashi tells him that he has programmed his robot to be able to do over 10,000 medical procedures. All of its programming is stored on a small chip that is attached to the robot's chest. The boy looks at each part of the robot and rates it. Baymax gives him a lollipop as a reward for being good during the service. He then tells him that he will be turned off as soon as the service is over. His patient says he is getting better. Then, Hiro tells him he's better, and Baymax goes back to his charger case. At that moment, Professor Robert Callahan comes in. The boy is excited to meet him because he has always thought that man was a brilliant scientist. After seeing the Megabot, Professor Callahan offers the young man a chance to enroll at the university. However, Tadashi says that his brother is more interested in fighting robots. Minutes later, the brothers leave. Tadashi says that they need to run if Hiro wants to get to the competition on time. If Hiro designs something that will get Callahan's attention, he'll be able to work in his lab. But the boy spends all day trying to come up with something amazing, but he has nothing. Then, Tadashi helps his brother look at things from a different angle, and when Hiro sees the Megabot right in front of him, he has a brilliant idea. For the next few weeks, Hiro works hard in his makeshift lab in the garage until his project is finished. With the help of Tadashi and his friends, he takes his latest invention to an exhibition. When he gets on stage, he puts a neurotransmitter on his head and pulls out a micro-robot from his pocket, saying that this is his project. Some people are disappointed because they think the robot can't do anything. However, when that thing connects with its friends, it can form any structure. All commands are sent by the neurotransmitter, and if the device is out of his head, the robots stop working. Hiro's project is praised by a crowd of people who were impressed by his invention, while the boy and his friends celebrate. Alistair Cry, a great businessman in the field of technology, walks in and tells him that he wants to patent Hiro's project while they were talking about it. Professor Callahan shows up and tells him that Cry only got where he is because he broke several scientific rules. Giving the microbots to Cry could be dangerous. This hero is grateful for the offer, but he decides not to sell his robots before saying goodbye. Professor Callahan gives him an admission letter and says that he looks forward to seeing him in his next class. Everyone leaves the event happy, and Tadashi says he is proud of his brother. During the conversation, a fire breaks out, and the boy is told that Professor Callahan is inside the building. Hiro tries to stop his brother from going in there, but Tadashi go. Suddenly, fire explodes and his brother and professor died. In the next weeks that follow, the boy becomes depressed and doesn't even have the strength to eat. In a few weeks, classes at the university will start, but Hiro hasn't registered yet. Tadashi's friends are worried about the boy and try to get in touch with him, but Hiro ignores all of their calls. He decides to drop out of college and go back to fighting robots because he is too scared to go back to school. But when the boy picks up the Megabot, a piece of it falls on his foot and he screams in pain. At that moment, Baymax turns on and scans the boy. The robot sees that Hiro isn't harmed, but his hormone and neural levels show that he is having mood swings. While trying to turn off Baymax, Hiro falls to the floor and finds one of his microbots that he thought had been destroyed in the fire under the bed. Hiro puts him in a petri dish to help him go in the right direction and calm down the boy's mood swings. When Hiro notices that Baymax isn't there, it's too late. Baymax is already out on the streets, where he could cause an accident. When Hiro finally catches up with him, the robot has already found the place where the microbot was trying to go. They stop in front of an abandoned garage, but the door is locked. Curious to see what's inside, Hiro decides to break in through the window to keep up with Baymax. Hiro sees a man in a mask walking toward him, but both of them manage to get away. The boy immediately goes to the police station, and while Baymax covers his holes with duct tape, Hiro tries to convince the officer that he is telling the truth. When he realizes that the man won't believe him, the boy decides to go home because Baymax's battery is running out while he's charging. When Baymax asks about Tadashi, Hiro tells him that he died, and Baymax goes to the computer and downloads all the information about personal losses. Now the robot knows how to help Hiro deal with his loss. The first step to getting better is to stay close to friends and family, so Baymax calls the boy's friends. Hiro has always thought that the fire that killed his brother was an accident, but after he sees the masked man, he starts to think that the man set the fire to steal his microbots. That night, while Cass is watching TV, Hiro and Baymax sneak out to the garage. The boy makes some upgrades to the robot so that he can fight evil, and he even makes an armor for him. Baymax is finally ready to fight, and Hiro and Baymax go. The boy sees something strange coming toward them, so the two of them hide. The car that had been following them shows up, and Tadashi's friends who were worried about Hiro try to take the boy home. Before they could get in the car, though, a masked man showed up and threw a big box at them. Baymax grabs the object and is then thrown onto the car as Wasabi drives away. Hiro tries to explain what's going on as the group drives through the city, and Baymax uses the chance to scan the enemy. A masked man approaches the car, and Go Go decides to take the wheel. The chase goes on, and the microbots catch the car. Go Go gets rid of them, and the car ends up falling into the water, which is lucky for them. Baymax is the best health agent there is, and he saves them from drowning. After they leave the lake, they walk to Fred's house and are shocked to find that he lives in a mansion. The surprises keep coming as they enter Fred's room, which is filled with dolls and strange creatures. As Hiro comes up with a plan to catch the villain, Baymax notices that Hiro's body temperature is low and starts to warm him up. The businessman wanted to buy the microbots from Hiro, but the boy turned him down. Fred thinks that Cry started the fire to steal the microbots without being caught, but Hiro doesn't believe him and says they need more information to find the culprit. At that moment, Baymax says that he scanned the masked man and knows everything about his health. The hero thinks that the villain's neurotransmitter is in his mask. If he's right, all he has to do is take off the guy's mask, and he'll lose control of the microbots. Before they put their plan into action, they use Fred's butler as a test subject for their new inventions and train in the mansion. A few days later, Hiro shows his friends the new version 2.0 of Baymax. With that armor, the robot can throw rocket punches and has wings on his back. There is a magnet where the boy must attach himself to fly with Baymax, but the first flight is scary and the boy is scared. They almost have several accidents, and the boy only calms down when the robot lands on the Golden Gate. Seconds later, Baymax jumps hundreds of meters into the air and soars over the ocean. The robot then takes Hiro to the city, where they are under the clouds watching the sunset when the boy asks Baymax to scan everyone in town to find the villain. Baymax finds the masked man and tells Hiro and his friends that he is on an island near the city. The friends are scared because it will be their first real fight. When they hear the slightest noise, they use their powers, but it turns out they were attacking a pigeon. When they enter the facility, the team walks through the halls until Honey finds something strange. They go into a partially destroyed room and look for the control panel. When Hiro turns on the screen, a recording of Craig presenting his new project to his investors appears. The project consists of building a giant robot that can fly. Abigail is the first person to be teleported by this machine, and she prepares her capsule for the trip. Seconds after launch, the team loses contact with the pilot and the portal starts to self-destruct. Cry then interrupts the electromagnetic field, trapping Abigail inside. After watching the video, Hiro and his friends are sure that Cry is the guy in the mask, and they plan to use the microbots to rebuild the teleportation portal. At that moment, the villain, when Hiro and Baymax come flying in, the boy manages to rip the mask off the man who killed his brother. This is when the boy finds out that the villain is actually Professor Callahan, who used the microbots to save himself during the fire at the exhibition while his brother died for nothing. Hiro tells Baymax to kill him, but the robot's programming keeps it from hurting anyone. So, the boy takes out the chip that was programmed by Tadashi and puts in another card that lets him attack anyone who gets in his way. While the others try to stop Baymax from killing someone, Callahan gets his mask back and escapes with the microbots. Ignoring that chaos, Honey manages to put Baymax's original chip back in, and the robot goes back to normal. The professor is furious, so he goes after him and tries again to change the robot's chips, but Baymax stops him and says that his job is to help sick and injured people, not hurt them. He then plays a recording made by Tadashi. The boy kept a record of every time he tried to get Baymax to work. After 84 tries, he finally got the robot to work right, and he was very happy to learn that Baymax will be used to help many people see. In this video, Hiro gets upset and apologizes to the robot for what he did. Just then, his friends show up with a flash drive with a new recording they found on the island. During the video, Callahan shows up just as Abigail is stuck in the portal, and the group finds out that the woman was the professor's daughter. Now, Callahan wants to get back at Cry as the latter shows off his company's new campus. A man in a mask shows up and grabs him. Callahan says that Cry's pride caused his daughter's death because he knew the portal wasn't ready but still let Abigail go through it to get back at him. Before the place is destroyed, the professor uses the microbots to fix the teleportation machine and get rid of everything most precious Cry has. Hiro and his team show up and try to talk Callahan out of getting revenge, but he attacks his students and beats up Baymax instead. Hiro is thrown away and gets sucked into the portal. His friends try to save him, but they end up being captured by the microbots. The boy tells his friends to kill the robots because if they go through the portal, they won't be able to follow Callahan's orders. When he sees that Hiro is in trouble, Baymax gets away and goes to save him. When everyone is back together, the boy tells his friends to destroy the robots while he distracts Callahan. By the time Callahan figures out what's going on, he has less than half of his microbots left. By removing the neurotransmitter from Baymax's head, he is able to get the mask back. The portal starts to fall apart and starts sucking everything around it. Cry says that there is no way to turn it off and that the portal will self-destruct in a few minutes. The only solution is for everyone to move away from that location. But Baymax finds a sign of life inside the machine and decides to go there to help. After all, that's what it was built for. His sensor shows that there is a woman inside and she is in a state of hibernation. Hiro immediately realizes that this is Callahan's daughter and Hiro and Abigail. The boy loses hope and tries to think of another way to save his friend, but he doesn't have much time because the portal will soon be destroyed. Baymax asks Hiro if he's feeling better, and when he says yes, he turns off the robot. But before he does that, he uses his rocket arm to send the capsule out of the portal before it explodes. Minutes later, an ambulance arrives and Abigail is taken. Leave your answer in the comments below, and if you like the video, please like and subscribe to get more movie recaps.